Hi, I'm Jen Besser, the publisher of G.P. Putnam Sons Books for Young Readers, and today I'm here with Katherine Howe, the author of Conversion, a new YA novel coming out this July. You do such a beautiful job in this novel of sort of, we go from time period to time period, and so will you tell us a little bit about sort of the jump in time and how you decided to set this against the Salem Panic?
Yeah. Colleen is studying the Crucible in her high school class, and she very quickly discovers that this story, which a lot of us read in high school actually, especially in North America, she discovers that there is a crucial character who's missing from this very popular retelling of Salem, and that person is Ann Putnam. Ann Putnam was a real person. She actually accused more people during the Salem Panic than even Abigail Williams, who's probably the most notorious of the so-called afflicted girls. And Ann Putnam was the only person who was an afflicted girl during Salem who later issued an apology. She issued an apology in 1705, and yet she doesn't appear in the Crucible at all. Her name is changed, her role is very minimized. And so I have a backstory in Conversion of Anne telling her side of the story. And so as Colleen is trying to unravel what's happening with her friends, Anne is unraveling what happened with her friends.
And as a teacher and someone who has a lot of experience teaching Crucible in the classroom, do you see Conversion as a book to be taught alongside the Crucible? And if so, how do you see those two working together in the classroom?
I would like to see Conversion and the Crucible taught next to each other. I mean, one of the things that I think is interesting, and I raise a lot of explicit questions about our reliance on the Crucible for understanding Salem. I think that it is pretty common.
As a sort of historical text.
Yeah, it's pretty common to treat it as sort of a proxy for what really occurred, and to not necessarily think about the Crucible as a text about the 1950s.
Right.
I mean, I think that we sort of acknowledge that. In fact, the Crucible, I think we all know, was being performed on Broadway the very night that Ethel and Julius Rosenberg were put to death for conspiracy to commit espionage for the USSR. So the Crucible is really very much about a particular moment in American political and cultural history in the mid-20th century. And I think it's interesting because oftentimes when I've taught the Crucible, it's so beautifully rendered and so beautifully written and so clearly well researched that oftentimes I will find students who kind of take it as a proxy for what really happened.
Right.
And I think that that's not unusual for a lot of historical periods, that will kind of, because fiction can be so emotionally compelling, that it can sometimes overwrite what really happened. And so Conversion raises some questions about the ways that we use history, the ways that we study history, what the relationship is between fiction and between historical inquiry.